Unlocking Marital Bliss.
Hey, you're so much welcome to Unlocking Marital Bliss with me, Cyrus Rod. It's always a pleasure to host you here on this Sunday afternoon. It's always a pleasure to come and talk about marriage, especially at a time, at a day when you look at marriage and you think, what in the world is going on? Is this what we should have? Should it be painful? What is going on? I want you to understand and understand good that actually, as a matter of fact, we are here to make marriage what it's supposed to be, full of bliss. And as you listen, that's what we want to do. And tonight, we're just tired of ordinary marriages. And we're having marriage beyond the ordinary. This whole thing of just the ordinary marriage, you come together, then you begin beating each other up. You come together, then the next day you're out. You come together and you're mourning and you're tired. We come together and then you fall apart. Nah. We want to talk about marriage beyond the ordinary. And in studio, I have awesome guests that are going to be helping me through this so you may learn. And without taking any more time, or without further ado, I'll first take a break. How about that? And I'll be back in a minute. We'll be back. You're still watching Unlocking Marital Bliss with me, Cyrus Rod. And tonight, we're tired of ordinary marriages where you all come in and begin killing each other, where you all come in and begin beating each other up, where you all come in and you begin hating them children, where you all come in and you begin just literally wasting your lives. I hate that. I want an extraordinary marriage. And guess what? I got my guests ready to help us through this. And together with me, would you welcome our guests today? Francis, thanks. You're on my extreme left. So I welcome you on the show, Unlocking Marital Bliss.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
And now that you're in, you'll help me introduce this lady. Is she your sister or what?
I don't wish her to be my sister. This is my lovely wife.
Okay.
She's called Prosi Abura Nachiunga.
Prosi
Abura
Abura
Nachiunga.
Nachiunga.
Yes.
Nachiunga. Now, I have Abura and I have Nachiunga. From where? No, I don't think Nachiunga is coming from Abura.
No.
Yeah, I must be right. So now, you tell me, how did you all meet? You seem to be from Central.
Yes, I am.
And I'm from Karamoja, particularly Abim.
Now I'm enjoying my show right now. From Karamoja down to Buganda.
Yep.
How did you all meet? How does this stuff work? How did you all meet? I'll start with your pretty Prosi.
Thank you, Pastor Cyrus. We met in school. That's about 18 years ago.
Wow.
We were both doing a diploma then. And when I joined, he was in second year.
Okay.
I joined in first year, and we were in a fellowship.
Yeah.
So we would meet, praise God, and that was it. Friendship.
Praise God.
Praise God.
Then one day it stopped being praise God and
Okay, it didn't stop being praise God, but at a certain point, he came after finishing. He came back and started teaching from a book called Purpose-Driven Life.
Okay.
It was kind of a mentorship.
Oh, okay.
So it happens that I'm the best student or the most active
Okay.
in the class.
Ah.
So the mentor gets interested
In this
in the
student.
mentee.
In the mentee.
Yes.
Mentor. So you're busy mentoring, but things are really, your eyes are being taken.
Now, interestingly, at that point,
Yeah.
there were a couple of girls, really, like there are many,
Yes.
but there was this one particular girl who carried herself with elegance.
Wow.
She was calm, quiet, and peaceful. Now, I loved that about her. She was peaceful, elegant, and calm. And as a result, I was like, I think I need to meet this girl a little more often. Okay. So after we were done with Papa's Dream and Life, and I remember one time, it was, I think, Christmas of 2005. I was working that day. That time I used to work at SAS Clinic.
Yeah.
So I was working that day, and there was no food around. It was a Christmas day.
Yeah.
Restaurants were closed. And then I called down. I was like, would you like to come and just spend some time with me?
On Christmas?
Yes, on Christmas. I was at work, like after work. Interestingly, she came with food. Very nice food. I still remember that food. It was chicken and rice.
Were you beginning to smell something about this mentor of yours?
Not really in that sense, but of course I used to enjoy his company. He's a man full of stories, humor. So usually as a family tradition, every like after lunch, we would all go out.
Yes.
So this time round, I'm like, but there's this person who has no food. There's all this food here. So let me just be nice, carry some food. Yeah, so I packed up some food and took it for him to his workplace, not knowing for him it was a prayer answered.
Yeah, because I checked around, there were no open restaurants. So I really enjoyed that food.
And so that day you felt you wanted to tell us something?
Not that very day, but I think it was the beginning of a journey we started. So I just wanted to have a friend. Like a friend I would move out with, so we could go out. I remember those days, one of the most outing places was Munyonyo. So I think that day we went out to Munyonyo and just had a time we sat next to the water and just had a time to talk.
Now, sitting next to the water with this beautiful girl, I mean, what's going on in her mind? Like, what's this dude up to? I mean, you don't just sit next to the water, just at the shores. I mean, what kind of friendship is that? You just sitting at the shore?
Oh, we're just spending Christmas together. No, we're just spending Christmas. There were a couple of people.
Oh, come on, just spending Christmas together, seated at the shore with this beautiful girl, and there's nothing.
And she was my good friend, really.
Come on.
But of course, truth is, inside me, I was like, yeah, I think I like to spend a little more time with her.
Yes.
Yeah. And then came a time when I think I basically told her I loved her. My God, she coiled.
Huh? That's crossing the boundaries, huh?
Yes. I'm looking at this friend of mine, and then the friend wants to cross the border. So I'm like, okay, what is happening here? So then I say no. I'm like, if you still want to be my friend, please just.
Now, you ladies, why do you have to go through that? If you still want to be my friend, don't talk about that. What's going on in your mind? What do you want me to talk about?
So genuinely, I still wanted to enjoy the friendship. So in my mind, I'm thinking, so
This
if
is
we
not going to be friendship
go
now.
this other side, probably I'll miss something. Now, at the background, there are all these myths and clogged up fears about marriage, fears about commitment. So it's all informing my decision.
Yes.
So I tell him no. Good enough, he was a patient person.
Yeah.
I waited for a year, full year, for her to say yes, a full year.
Now that's being a man. That's being a man. Full year. Before she could say yes.
Before she could say yes.
And were you meeting again like hi?
Almost every week.
The highs were there, but in me, I'm like,
No, you guys, that's crazy.
Almost every week we would meet. Interesting, we at some point we worked together. We worked together in the same organization. So I would escort her home, and sometimes she would escort me back.
but you know that escorting of
I
you
know
don't
that-
leave the
That
road.
becomes a real mess. Couldn't you just say, you know what? I think, okay, I messed up the first time. We can't keep doing this. There's really something going on when you begin that. or go back to and fro, something.
What I told her is this. I told her that I will not bring up this question again, but when you feel you're ready, I just need you to tell me one thing. Tell me you love me. I will understand that that is the point. And one evening, we were taking a walk and she tells me, you know what, as in like we're parting, she gives me a hug and then she whispers to me and tells me, I love you. You need to know, that day I didn't walk back to my place. I think I was flying. So that was actually the beginning of our journey. Yes.
You decided to tell him.
Yes.
Actually,
Now
I
the
didn't
fears were
premeditate, but on that, I think after hugging him and after, like, it was about 1.5 years of studying, getting questions answered, all this confusion clearing.
Yeah.
So this particular day, I felt, I think this is the man I want to be with. And that is how the word popped out.
So now you told it to him, then he's now flying high without wings, and he's up there. He's up there flying without wings. And what is going on in your mind within this 1.5 years? You know, there's some of our viewers, they're going through what you went through. And they're thinking, and now look, you're from Karamoja. Do you know how far it is from here to Abem? How many?
About 480 kilometers.
480 kilometers from here to Abim. What is going on in your mind? You're thinking, but we have some beautiful girls in Abim. What is this Muganda girl thinking? I mean, who does she think she is anyway?
You see, Abim has so many pretty girls, really pretty.
Yeah.
But there was something about her that was different. And I think one of it was her love for Christ.
Amen.
She loved God.
Amen.
And she was really passionate about things of God. That's why even when we did that mentorship on Purpose Driven Life, she was really active. She wanted to learn, and she was, and then the other thing was the way she carried herself.
Yes.
I didn't want some jumpy girl, you know, who is all over the place. And I just wanted this humble, unique, calm, and peaceful lady.
That's the beauty that never fades. That's what the Bible says. The beauty that never fades, of a calm spirit.
She used to dress up so well. She used to put on clothes that would reach her ankle.
Yeah.
Like, yes, that's how decent she would dress.
Wow.
When you compare with other girls where they put on short dresses, that was not part of her. She would really try as much as to dress so decently. So that really rocked my heart.
Now you are together. You're going from Abim, Karamoja, to Buganda. Love is so powerful. I mean, the 480 kilometers. My God, there's no sea you would never cross.
The first time I took her to meet my parents, we traveled for 13 hours in a bus. It was an Easter season. I took her to see my mom.
Hold it there. I will ask this one. 13 hours in a bus on our bumpy roads.
Yep.
And what was going on in your mind? Am I coming back?
You see, there is this girl in love, and at that point, nothing can stop her. She's moving on these bumpy roads, and all she's seeing are sceneries, beautiful sceneries.
Until she gets there.
Until she gets there. But now, one thing that warmed my heart were the people.
Okay.
Very lovely people. To the extent that I reached there, I hugged my mother-in-law, and my mother-in-law to be.
Yes.
But I'm thinking she's his sister. Because of that warmness and, you know, in Buganda, like...
Yeah, I know, you kind of...
Yes. But I reached there and it's all arms wide open. Yes. So somehow I did not feel the road. It was like a tour for me. Then I get in there, I get to learn different dishes, roasted meat, roasted nuts. It's like an adventure.
How long did you spend?
It was a week. 4 days. Yeah.
But then what was your family thinking? Now you go to them and you tell them, I'm bringing a Muganda girl.
Now, by that time, things were good. In between, before there was a battle. I don't know. I don't know. We should go into it.
That's what we want to know, because you know many out there are having what you're having. You see, this is marriage beyond the ordinary.
Absolutely.
You know, Karamoja and Buganda. And take a look at this. Some people think Karamoja, what kind of people come from there? You get me? Who dwells there? And here I have somebody on set. He's saying, I'm from Karamoja, and that's how we are. Now, I'll tell you, some people think people in Karamoja don't even wear clothes. Now, that's the mentality, you know. They don't even wear clothes. But I have a man over here on set. You see, he ain't naked, okay? So I want you to understand this. You're really opening up, and you're going with a Muganda girl.
Now, before actually we took that journey, I had about I think a 6 to 8 months battle with my family members. My dad was fine with it, but my mom, looking at the kind of environments, the background she has grown up with, the marriages she had seen around of intercultural marriages not working out and all that, I think she really didn't think marrying outside. Yes, outside.
And by the way, because I've spoken about the Karamoja, and now you talk about Buganda. Now, most people think Bugandan girls are just, you know, loose. They are not committed. They just are too smart. Before you realize it, they've taken everything you have.
Now that was the worry. I think that was the worry I think they had, and I think also looking at the marriages that had gone ahead of us.
Yes, yes.
The kind of examples that given.
Yes.
Actually made people to come up with such a mindset.
Exactly.
And we vowed that we would actually have a marriage that will give people a different perception of what an intermarriage will be like.
Yes.
And our children will not have a challenge on who they want to marry, or which tribe they're going to.
Because you've already proved it. It works.
So what happened is that I remember a time my siblings come over, and before that I talked to my mom and said, you know what, I'm preparing to get married. And my mom is like, so where is the woman from? And I tell her, she's like, no, you're not getting married. You're not getting married. Not there. If you are to go farther from Karamoja, at least up to Mbale, maybe Mbahali. That was really like, we were not allowed to cross the Nile.
Not crossing
the Nile. Yes, so, but time comes when my siblings visited me. I was staying in this two-bedroom room house, and they visited me for a couple of time, and she came and visited, and I think they liked her. I don't know what kind of report they took back home, but after they went back home, the story changed.
Okay.
That's when I was actually even allowed to bring her home.
Whoa. Yeah, because I know, you know, being in Africa, Karamoja, Buganda, you had your side there. How was your side? You got to tell us.
So my side, first of all, I was not a jumpy girl.
Yes.
I had never brought anyone home.
Yes.
They had not seen me with a boyfriend or something.
Beautiful.
So this one particular time, I say I am bringing a man home. And who is the man from Karamoja? So one of my uncles asks me, has a Muganda ever married and a Karamajong? And has that ever happened? Like, have you seen it anywhere? So,
in others, try to get back to your senses.
Exactly. So my response was, I have never brought any man. You have not seen me with anyone. So by the time I bring this person, that is it. Oh. Now, I think that's a girl being in love. I went ahead to quote the scripture of God has united us. We have no Jew. We have no Gentile.
I hear you.
I basically had to preach.
To convert.
to
huh?
convert.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and within me, I was convinced.
Okay.
You see, that 1.5 years was like a study time
Yes.
for me to get my fears calm down. And then I think there is this brother of mine who is like a paver for me,
Okay.
like he has sight. So I set up a meeting
Uh-huh.
with him. I don't know what happened,
Yeah.
but I know he was interrogated. So kind of after that meeting,
Yeah.
then he tells me, I think this is a good guy. Because first of all, before he had warned me, men, art. So I still, part of that was also creating fear in me
Yes,
of there is no
yes.
genuine man, there is no good man. So he gets to talk to this guy and he realizes, I think this is a
This
good
guy
man.
from Karamoja is
Yes. So somehow that was a tick also, adding on to the convictions that
real.
I
And then
had.
you came back home.
Yes.
Your parents are both alive?
No, they are gone.
They're gone.
So I have like the parental figures are like uncles who are like authorities.
Yes.
And they were the ones like asking me
I know.
those questions, and I'm like, you know what? This is it.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is it.
This is it.
And now you proceed for the
Of course, the functions, we go back, we discuss, then begin setting dates. Our introduction was, we didn't do a kuchala,
Yes.
though, because I literally understand you first have to visit the singer.
Yes.
Like if the parents have not known themselves.
Actually, let me just interject. You see, these days we have a lot of nonsense. Now, when it comes to these functions, somebody says, I'm doing a Coachella, and it's like a mini introduction. You get it? But you see, for example, around the central here, there's nothing like that. If you have anything, you take your man to your auntie, paternal auntie. And there's nothing special. This whole business of Coachella, and it's like a mini wedding. And it's a waste of resources. And I'm glad you never did it. Because a lot of you young people need to know, you don't need to waste resources like that. You do a mini introduction, and then you do a real introduction, and then the wedding. Wasting resources, that is fake. You know, I really want what he did. You talk to the singer, the auntie, and from there, introduction, and they asked for 100 cows, huh?
Surprisingly, I think, okay, there were discussions in between there.
Yeah.
And the bride price, the cows was being hiked, and I'm like, I know the person I'm bringing. This is someone who is just beginning life, and we have life after this.
Oh man, we got a real woman on set over here. I know the person I'm bringing. Ladies, when do you ever stand in to defend your man? Especially during this bride price, whatever. You stand in and say, I know the man I'm bringing. He does not have the 20 heads of cattle. He doesn't have them. Please let him come in. Let us build together. That is what you are supposed to do. But this business of mama say there gotta be 20, mama say there gotta be 20, that is ridiculous. Thanks for being a real woman.
Now, but interestingly, again, for us, we can't marry without cows. So we had to prepare cows and goats. Now, incidentally,
Even when she's not from Karamoja.
yes, we just had to make sure we have cows and goats.
And how many did you bring?
Now, what happened is that around the time we were supposed to get married, we had a quarantine. Cows could not travel. So we had to sneak in goats. I think we sneaked in about 20 goats in a boot of a bus that we couldn't check them. So we had to sneak in goats, about 20 of them, and that's what we were able to give. The cows couldn't travel because there was a quarantine, okay? And we had prepared about 5 to 10 cows that were supposed to come. Interestingly,
Uh-huh.
about a month later, the cows were raided. cows. They had gone to grace
No
along
way.
Mount Marital, and they never came back.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching and locking Marital Bliss. The cows are rated that are meant to come in as bride price are rated. We'll see you in a minute.
Unlocking Marital Bliss. Unlocking Marital Bliss.
We'll be back. We'll be back. We'll be back. We'll be back. You're still watching Unlocking Marital Bliss with me, Cyrus Rod. Just so excited. My marriage is doing well, and yours must do well, even as you watch this. Before we took a break, we had just discovered that the animals that were supposed to come to Procy's home had been raided by them cattle rustlers. They raided them. And what happened, Procy? What did you do? Were you shocked? Cows raided. Now we've seen they've brought the goats hidden in the boot, about 20 of them, and then you got the cows raided.
At least I was safe because we had not raised so much expectation.
Okay,
It was safe on my side.
yes.
So, of course, later, I think what we have done right now after the marriage is even beyond the cows,
Wow,
because we had a life to live after this.
yes,
You realize some people you live and bring the cows, and it's a source of conflict.
yes.
But when you look at what is ahead, the bigger picture,
yes.
it's more than cows.
It's more than the cows. I believe when it comes to bride price, more than anything, I believe it's about laying down your life. You know what I told the parents, my in-laws? There was so much happening with disgust, and I told them, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'll bring gifts. But I promise my life for her life. I can add on these other stuff you need, but my life for her life, let's agree.
And that's what matters.
And they're like, okay. Your life for her life. And that's what matters. Because after then, I still take care of her. I lay down my life for her. But I'm just so glad that your family made it convenient, made it good that now he can lay down his life for you forever. All because this happened. Karamoja and Buganda, and I'll admit, you're the first couple I've noticed or I've seen. Karamoja and Buganda. You got kids?
Yes, we have 3 lovely kids.
3 lovely kids. I love that. You've done some good work. 3 lovely kids.
Should I add the word so far?
So far. Okay, the journey continues, no problem. Now, really, your marriage is beyond ordinary. I really do appreciate that. And because of that, you came up with a book.
Yeah.
Marriage Beyond Ordinary. This is what I've been telling you. When you look at the lives of these people, marriage beyond ordinary. I want you to understand we're tired of the ordinary. We want extraordinary. What people are not used to. A resource for God-word marriages by Francis and Procy Abura. What does Abura mean?
Abura means like a covering, like I don't know,
Wow.
like you're born on a day when there is a cloudy
Okay.
covering or something. Yes.
Marriage beyond ordinary, and it says marriage is the beginning of the family, a lifetime commitment,
Yes.
struck covenant.
Mark that word, commitment. It's not about feelings. It's a commitment.
Lifetime commitment and covenant that gives one an opportunity to grow from selfishness to selflessness as you serve your partner and children. Now, I got to take a break here. You know, with this stuff you're talking about, there's stuff that is going on today. You're talking about commitment, lifetime commitment. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I don't want you anymore. Get out of my house.
Now, that is a subconscious decision you make right at the time you make your vows. You need to understand the impact or the significance of the vows you make. Till death do us part. I know sometimes we do make these vows because you're supposed to make them. But I want couples to go out there, if possible, watch your video, or your marriage video, and listen to those vows again and again.
I think most couples will be scared. They don't want to listen to those vows. Oh God, no way.
And understand what that means. When you talk about a lifetime commitment, we're saying for better, for worse. Even if your wife has started having unnecessary bleeding that you're not understanding, it doesn't mean that's the time you should actually dish and look for another person.
But you know, the bleeding is, I mean, a year, 2 years. What do you want me to do?
There are medical solutions you can do to that. There are medical solutions. And
yeah, the medical staff has gone in and now it's 2 years. What do you want me to do?
So what happened? You get another woman? And what about if that one gets crippled? You get another one?
Yeah.
So what does your word count actually? The one you made before God in church. That in sickness and in health.
But now you're beginning to judge me.
Judging you? If I was to judge you, you shouldn't have gotten married. Paul made it clear that you can actually have an option of not getting married. Marriage is not something that you just go for the sake of going.
But you know, this is the stuff that is going on. I love the example. I mean, pastors are doing stupid stuff.
It's not nice at all. It's not nice.
Then if you call me out, I scream. You raise an eyebrow about it. I go, ooh, you're judging me.
It's so painful here.
Commitment. What is this whole thing about commitment? I think it's the commitment that makes the marriage beyond the ordinary.
Yeah. There are times when I don't feel like I love this lady.
Yes.
I don't feel it.
But it's not feelings.
I don't feel it, yes. But it's not feelings. It's a commitment that I have made.
And in fact, love is not a feeling.
Oh.
Love is what you do, not what you feel.
Yeah, that's true. What you feel can come and go.
Can come and go.
It can come and go. Anytime it can come and go. When I married this lady,
yes,
I used to feel butterflies.
Yes.
Sometimes I don't feel those butterflies.
You don't feel anything.
But also I've made a subconscious decision that even when I don't feel those butterflies, I am going to do things that will make me feel those butterflies.
Thank you.
For example, I have decided that at least 3 to 4 times in a year, I have to take this woman out of this city and just love on her.
Yeah.
And just love on her. It's a rhythm that we've created. And we talk about that rhythm in this book. That sometimes, because you've gotten used to the ordinary, oh, home, work, that's ordinary. Sometimes kids. Go beyond it. Go beyond it. Get out of the ordinary. Get out of the places you've been. You've gotten used to things. And see the world out there. Together, as two of you. I'm telling you, it's amazing.
That is very beautiful. When you say you need to get away, okay? That is literally, you know, this is a conscious decision that you made. Nobody forced you.
Absolutely.
Now you hear a man at this time say, you won't force me to love her. I mean, nobody is forcing you to love her. We're just telling you, you promised. We're giving your word back to you.
Absolutely.
You promised. Before God, not us. You promised.
Yep.
Okay? That in sickness
and in health,
for better
and for worse,
in health and in sickness, until
death do us part.
No, you leave me alone. I don't want those words. I mean, you're a fool, because a man is as good as his word.
Absolutely.
So when you turn against your word, you're a fool. Watch, you're an F-O-O-L, fool. Because a man is only as good as his word. If God could turn against his word, none of us would be here.
No.
Let me give you a simple example. I used to watch this movie called 24. It was by a guy called Jack Bauer. When Jack Bauer gave you his word that I'll protect you, he would even compromise the mission he had gone for to ensure
keep
that he
his word.
protects you. And that is how marriage is supposed to be. If I've given my word that I'll protect this lady, I need to go beyond the ordinary to make sure that this lady is protected, because that is my word and I need to stand by my word. And this goes out to the men out there, that we need to stand by our word. If we say we will love these ladies, let's love them. If we say we will commit to them, let's be committed to them. If we say we will be there for them, let's be there for them.
I love it when you say, I need to talk to the man out there, because the man is the head. You're supposed to lead. You're supposed to set an example. Now, here we have a challenge. Most of the guys are saying words that they want to chew back. And that fails. A man is as good as his word. I love the example you've given, that the man, whatever his name you mentioned, could even compromise the mission to simply keep his word.
Yep.
The Bible says, who shall dwell on the mountain of the Lord? He who keeps his word, even when it hurts. Even when it hurts. Now, we are living at a time of marriage beyond the ordinary. This is what you're bringing in. And Prosy, I'll bring this to you. When it comes to commitment, many of you young ladies today, you're like, yeah, we can, but when things turn around, I need me a new man. I can take, yes, I promise, but leave me alone. Don't force me. Have you had that stuff? Don't force me. I promise, but don't force me. Nobody, is somebody really forcing you to keep your word?
Of course, if you're thinking that people are forcing you, then you're not true to yourself.
Thank you.
What I understand by covenant,
Yes.
or a commitment,
Yes.
why we do all those things of you walk down the aisle, your brother or the authority,
Yes.
whether it's a brother or a father, brings you to the altar. They hand over your hand to the priest or the celebrant,
Gives you away.
gives you away. You're just exchanging authority.
Yes.
You're leaving your family and putting the authority in the hands of God, being represented by the preacher. So the preacher gets the hand and then puts it in the hand of your husband.
Yes.
So there is an exchange around there, and you
Exchange of protection, exchange of love, exchange of covering, exchange of provision.
Yes.
Now your parents are no longer responsible for that. Now your husband is.
Responsible.
Okay.
And it's a big responsibility.
Yes.
That a man carries.
Yes.
And if the man takes on that mantle, they need to know what they are standing into.
Yes.
We are calling it a covenant, we are calling it a commitment. So as you're saying those words, you know there is an exchange that is happening. That you're not going to wake up tomorrow and say, because I'm not feeling like
anymore,
then I choose to leave my responsibility. I choose to leave the protection. I choose to leave the priesthood.
Yes.
It's not a one day thing.
Yes.
And it's not about feelings.
Yes.
But standing up to your word, like what you have given. And I will relate that back to the parenting we are doing.
Yes.
Because we have children. And these are values that come from way down.
Yes.
Yes, from way down. We are bribing our children, teaching them they can go away with anything. We are not teaching them to respect authority, meaning they will defy any authority around them. Yes. They can do away with anything. We are not teaching them to commit and own up to their mistakes.
Yes.
For example, one of the principles we talk about here is logical consequences. Of whatever you do, you know there is a consequence, whichever choice you choose. For example, we have told the child, you need to eat your food and finish.
Yes.
Then the child chooses to defy, either eats and leaves. So what happens is, if you don't finish your food, then you're not going to have a snack. You either do this and proceed to the next level, or you stay there. Like you're going to miss out something, a consequence to your actions.
That's true.
So this is, I think, what comes from childhood to
Adulthood, and then into marriage.
then into marriage.
Somebody believes they can go away with anything. They're never held accountable. They're never held responsible at all.
Yes. If a child doesn't share, you have a toy, you have, let me say, a tablet,
Yes.
then I've told you, share with your friend. Then you begin murmuring. You can't agree
Yes.
between each other. Both of you are going to lose the privilege.
Yes.
That's a consequence for your action. Now, before you murmur, know that both of you are going to be affected.
Yes.
So when we bring that to the marriage or to the adult person, if you're not able to agree in between the two of you, everyone else is going to
be affected. The children will suffer, the other person will suffer. And you mentioned, I love what you've written because it's all in the book. Now the illustrations you come up with. Actually, you're establishing a principle called faithfulness. You realize right from childhood, because you're teaching a child, look over here, this is what we agreed you're going to do. Now, if you don't do that, you're not being faithful. You never kept up your part. And because of that, there's going to be consequences. Now, when a child grows and realizes, I can be faithful, I can do this, and this is what is going to come through. I think the faithfulness taught in a child lets a child understand that life is about accountability. I don't own it. It's about accountability. I'm going to give an account. Okay, so
And I think that's the problem we're having right now.
because we don't teach accountability, there's no faithfulness because there's no accountability. I believe in lack of accountability comes in because we think we own. We are our own, and we own our lives, and I'll do whatever I feel like doing. So we do not acknowledge that actually we are owned by God, and that if He owns us, then we are stewards. We are not owners. So that means we will give our accountability to Him. We subject ourselves to His word. We are not owners. So if every child grows up in that way, that seed, that, let me tell you, I can even buy you a phone, but it's not yours. I have the power to take it away. I still own. I gave it to you so you may manifest stewardship, that you use it for the glory of God. If you don't, and you're getting addicted, I'll take it away. I think these are the things you're bringing out now. Very much needed. Now you're busy raising your children to fear God, and somebody else is raising their children to be lords. They own everything. They should never be hurt. They should never be told what to do. Let them do whatever they want. You know, I came from a family that was so poor. Let my kids enjoy. What do you have to say, Francis?
Where we stay, we have a community of about six to 8 parents.
Yeah.
And we try to replicate that raising our children as a community. Where I grew up from, anyone would cane me. Anyone who was an adult would cane me.
Me too.
Yeah, anyone who was an adult would cane me if I'm in the wrong.
Yes.
That's how we grew up. And I grew up in Marital, and that time I knew everyone in the district. In the district, I knew everyone, and everyone knew me. So they knew this is so-and-so's child, this is so-and-so's child. So that accountability, whereby if I made a mistake, anyone would cane me, is what the things we're trying to do even right now. We have challenges with it, because of
Yes.
the kind of community we're in.
Yes.
But we have about 6, 7, 8 parents that
Yes.
come together, and we meet at least every Friday with our children and
Yes.
kind of take them through the word, and then we also have time with them to go do evangelism together. Now, what that does is that we are trying to ensure that our children are exposed to
Yes.
understand the principles that we go by,
Yes.
so that in the future, in case these children come together, I'll not have a challenge with thinking, so and so's child has not been brought up well. No. I know that child. We grew up, we actually raised them together, we parented them together. And this was an encouragement to the parents out there,
Yes.
that the children within your vicinity
Yes.
have a way of raising them together.
Yes.
As you raise them together, they grow up with those principles, so that you're not fearing that, who is my child going to get married to? If
Yes.
all of us from wherever we are
Uh-huh.
can decide to raise our children
Mhm.
in a God way, we train them up in a God way, then we'll not have a challenge with being worried of who our children will get married to or who our children will meet in the future.
That's
Because
very
each of
correct.
us, wherever we are,
done our
we've
roles.
done our roles. So it still brings us, the parents, to actually do our role of raising these children up. Like the example you gave, you don't want things like, I grew up in a poor family, let my child have all the gadgets they want, let
You
them
know?
have all they want. No, they should be able to have those things with responsibility.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Then they'll grow up knowing, if I have a wife, I can't treat her the way I want.
Absolutely.
You know, I can't treat her the way I want. Yes, she's my wife, but I'm a steward of my wife. I don't wake up in the morning and say, I can beat you up and nobody's going to do nothing to me.
You reminded me of a story. This gentleman was dating this girl, and we actually wrote that story in this book.
Okay.
And one time they go out among their first dates, and the
Yes.
gentleman is like, "Do you know I can slap you?"
Whoa.
The girl
whoa.
took off. And we talk
Whoa.
about just some of the red flags in courting and dating. So some of those red flags, you actually need to know them. So you can't, in the first dates, you're going out and someone is already promising to beat you up. What will happen in marriage?
So you got to be careful about the red flags. Now, here is The Marriage Beyond Ordinary. And it's a beautiful book. You've talked about the red flags. What are some of the other stuff that you've written that people can expect in this book? Red flags. What are red flags? Quick definition. What are red flags?
Okay, I will not use the real definition of
Yes.
dictionary,
Mm.
but those are pointers.
Because I'm only asking according to your book. Don't mind about the rest.
Yes, those are just pointers to things you need to watch out or look out for as because relationships go in stages.
Okay.
You date, then you come to courtship, but there are those pointers, things that you see, and you're like,
careful about.
I need to be careful in this time. One of them is you have this person, you're thinking you're walking a long time journey, and then this person cannot even introduce you to the nearest or the closest of friends that they have.
Then you know somebody else was already introduced there.
You don't know their family, you don't know their friends, you don't know where he stays, and you're going towards marriage, and you'll be like, oh, that's a red flag. There are a couple of them we
What
talk
do they
about
do?
in there.
In there, we talk about a story of a lady dating this guy. She visits the guy, and then I think they were hungry, so the guy goes to the shop to buy something for them to eat.
Yes.
So I think curiosity,
Yeah.
the girl gets up, those one-room houses.
Yes.
Incidentally, she checks under the bed, and she finds a basket of things she's not understanding. Now, that girl ran up to today.
The guy doesn't know after why when she
Doesn't know why the girl ran.
Those are the red flags you got to be careful about. Now, another time is running. I love the mandate of a father in parenting. Man, there's so much in here, even when it comes to parenting, impact of conflict on parenting. That is so beautiful. How to resolve these marital conflicts. Mutual respect is an absolute necessity. Our time is run out. I want to find out. This book is loaded.
It
Where can somebody find this book from?
One, you can call us, we can have it delivered to you.
Okay, the numbers are on your screen for Francis Abura and Prosi Abura. They're running on your screen, 786-137-211 and 772-44-1344. Yes, running on your screen for this book. And even, do you guys teach others? Do you hold conferences?
Yes, we do.
Can somebody be able to call you and invite you in their churches, in the...
Yes, we do. We do. We do.
And you
We
deal
do.
with the
We do
couples?
marriage counseling. We do preparing for marriage. We also do like couples who are having a bumpy ride, and we kind of take them through. Recently, we've
You
actually
help
had
them out.
couples. Yes, we've helped couples where one, I remember a specific one where the lady had told the guy, "You know what? Don't come back." I mean, that's
Yeah, I
it.
know that
No, yeah.
stuff. So,
So, but we were able to talk to them and a few others, so many. There are those one who
Thanks.
had even divorced, and we talked to them and
And
they
they're
came
back.
back. Yes, and they
Beautiful.
are
I
staying
love
together
that.
and all that.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Mm.
Can
We
you...
also intend to have them in major bookshops. I think by the time they'll be watching this show, we'll have it in all the bookshops.
Major bookshops. Actually, you can go to the major bookshops around Kampala, Marriage Beyond Ordinary, eBay, Amazon. You're going to find this book. It's going to help you. All of you outside Uganda, and you can access Francis Abura and Prosi Abura on those numbers running on your screen right now, even their emails, and they will be of help if you get in touch with them. Now, my last word. I'm going to begin with the man himself. I want you to look in that camera. In 10 seconds, speak to the man out there that desires to have a marriage beyond ordinary.
Men, one, let's be men. Let's be men. Let's not chicken out. Let's be men. A man carries out responsibility to the dot. Let's be men. Let's not look at every skirt that passes around and arouses you up. No, a man decides and says that I'll be committed to this woman, and that will be the woman. There is nothing out there that should actually be more than that. But above all, men, let's love God and let's be committed to God, because that is very important. Once you're committed to God and you know what that means, then you're willing to love this woman and love her fully.
Awesome. So beautiful. And we have Prosi. Look in that camera and talk to those women. Marriage beyond the ordinary. This camera.
Yes, marriage beyond ordinary is about commitment, grace, and acceptance to each other. You're different, accept each other. There are things you can't change about each other. Accept those and work at having the best in that person. There is a lot of greatness on the inside of us. Harness that and you will go beyond ordinary. Above all, embrace God, because He's the author of this thing. It begins with Him and it ends with Him.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having Prosi and Francis on this show. And I know we'll have you again. God is so gracious. So now, by the way, some of you might have heard her saying there are things you can't change, and you think, and the man is saying, yeah, you see, there are things you can't change, you know? No. He's not talking about the foolishness, okay? She's not talking about your foolishness, okay? Now, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Remember, this is Unlocking Marital Bliss. We desire bliss in your marriage, and hey, marriage is easy. Ignorance is hard.
Unlocking Marital Bliss.